Let's talk about this Josh Norman matchup with his former team. He said that he hopes that Cam Newton targets him. That's what you had tweeted from the press conference. How will his emotions affect him tonight, do you think?
I think it's going to be interesting. I think that the main thing for him, he's going to be emotional. He's a very emotional guy, and he says, once he gets on the field, he just kind of lets it all go, and he can't control what happens. Well, tonight you just hope that he controls it to a point where, it doesn't become a one-on-one, him against Cam or him against his former team, and that he just keeps the team in mind, because this is a very important game for the Redskins, obviously, as you guys just mentioned. So I think Josh is ready. I think he's going to have a great game. He's been looking forward to this. It's just if he can keep his emotions in check. You just worry about the stupid penalty here and there. Now, this is not the same as it is with him facing Odell Beckham or Dez Bryant. I mean, these are his guys. He talked about it this week. He's got him in a group text. He and his family play against Cam and his brothers and cousins in basketball in the off season. So, the only thing he has issue with this team, I think, is the front office, obviously, for what happened. But I think this is just a situation. If he keeps his emotions in check, he's obviously going to be fired up. But I think he'll be ready to go, and he's ready to have a big game.
All right. At the same time, I think we all know, right, Cam Newton's numbers against the Redskins are heavily in his favor. Why might that change? I think he's, 3-0 against Washington?
3-0. I believe it's 7 touchdowns and no interceptions, including 5 touchdowns last year in that 44-16 route. The big thing with Cam, guys, tonight is he hasn't thrown all week, right? I mean, he's been limited. He had the MRI on his shoulder, it looked like, and he hasn't really thrown. But I mean, he's still a dangerous quarterback, and I think he's going to want to, go at Josh Norman as well. So it's going to be interesting because the Panthers, they need basically the entire rest of the league to lose for them to get in. Right? I think it's 250,000 to 1 odds right now to get in the playoffs. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play this tonight. With Luke Kuechly, who's been hurt, he's had the concussion. Do they rush him back? Cam Newton, it's going to be cold here tonight. What's his status going to be if he hasn't practiced? I still think he's going to play, but if, the Panthers get behind early, what's going to happen there as far as, do you kind of rest some of these guys? So I think a lot of things are in play tonight as far as that's concerned. And, look, the Panthers, if this Redskins defense can't get off the field on third down. I mean, it's been well documented. The league is converting 48% of third downs. I mean, that's just a ridiculous number. So if they're not careful tonight, Cam Newton could have another big game.
All right, let's talk about the other side of the ball, though, the Redskins offense. Second best in the league, statistically speaking. How will Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garçon be able to exploit those young cornerbacks for the Panthers?
Yeah, I think that's going to be key. That's a great point because, these guys, they got rid of Josh. He's out there, so it's going to be interesting to see if Kirk Cousins is able to spread the football around. Jordan Reed is going to play again tonight, but if you remember last week, he wasn't really a factor because of that separation of that shoulder. So Jay Gruden, we didn't see him really do that much this week in practice, but he's ramping it up a little bit. So I don't know what kind of factor he's going to be tonight, but you have those two on the outside. You have Jamison Crowder as well, who's been is a playmaker this year. So they could have some big numbers tonight against those rookie corners for Carolina. And if Kirk Cousins can spread the football around, they do want to run the football again, as they always have, especially in this weather tonight. So we'll see if they're able to open it up, and they should. Kirk Cousins could have a big game tonight. Yeah, they're averaging, like you said, second in the league, 412 yards a game on offense.
By the way, what is the weather forecast for kickoff anyway?
I think it's going to be low 30s tonight. It's cold now. It's clear, but I think I don't think it's going to be a precip, but I think it's going to be it's going to drop into the 30s tonight. So that could be a big factor as well with that field, and if these guys are going to be able to run and throw the football.
Well, to run and actually to protect Cousins as well. What they're going to have
right.
Starting line together for the first time since October 30th. So how much of a difference do you think that will make in enabling Kirk Cousins to do what he needs to do, and for that matter, the running game?
Yeah, Mike, I think that's a big thing because, Sean Laval's back this week. Spencer Long coming back from that concussion. Trent Williams back last week. So that is big. I mean, and it can't be understated enough. I mean, Kirk Cousins, even when those guys were out, Cousins was still able to stand back there and get rid of the football pretty quickly. But now he should have extra time this evening. And Robert Kelly, Fat Rob, as they like to call him here, is if he can get going tonight behind that starting offensive line, that could also make it for a long night for the Panthers because that obviously will set up Kirk Cousins to pass. But it is key to have the offensive line. That was a big thing with this team is this offensive line had been intact pretty much, all of last season and the beginning of this season. They didn't drop off that much, but the Trent Williams suspension, of course, hurt a little bit. They lost 2 in a row in that stretch, and then the 2 guys go down with the concussion and the injury. So it'll be nice to see them all back out there tonight for sure.